Greetings, my Israelite brothers and sisters, heirs, joint heirs, adopted, grafted, natural, spiritual. I hope this video finds you all well. Hope everything is going well on your end. We know that pretty much across the country, school is getting started good. Thought I would tune in today. Want to apologize for yesterday because um, our audio video crew, they're young adults, and they just um, sometimes it just happens. I guess that's the best way to put it. It just happens. So the person that we normally have doing our video was out of the country for the moment, and should be back next week and what have you. So I apologize because we did a good lesson on the prodigal son, the story. But what we did, we came from the angle of the other brother. That's the angle that we came from, the other brother. And while I was driving, I said, let me take a few moments just to expound upon that. And the other brother, he had an issue because of the fatted calf. And we talked about jealousy yesterday. We talked about how when one thing is lost, how you really go and search for it. But once you find it, you rejoice. You bring in everyone to just really rejoice about that one thing. So there was two stories before that. Somebody who lost a lamb, somebody who lost one of their pieces of silver. But when they found it, they rejoiced. They called everybody together and they rejoiced. And we know how that is. When you lose something, whether it's a cell phone, you lose a piece of jewelry or watch, you may have other pieces of jewelry, but this particular one, you really search for it. And when you find it, you're very happy about that. So that's what happens. The problem is the fact that the Bible, when we read these stories, we have to look at certain words that they mean something. They're not just there. They could have just said the man had two sons, one did this and one did that. But it was very detailed to say the younger son. The younger son is not entitled to receive the larger inheritance as the first son, the older son. Whoever is the older son gets the larger of the inheritance. The younger son wanted his portion, which then, because the father agreed to it, he had to really take an accounting and distribute everything. And he did. He gave the older son, of course, his larger portion, and the younger son his portion. And when we know the story, we all know that story, how he lived a riotous life and spent his money on harlots, and when he comes back, the father was rejoicing, gave him a robe, shoes, and a ring, and told the servants to bring out the fatted calf. That was the issue, the fatted calf. And the older brother, when he was coming home, he heard the music, and the servant had told him when he inquired, he says, your younger brother has come home and your father has brought out the fatted calf and the ring, the shoes, and the robe. That the ring, the shoes, and the robe didn't bother the older brother. It was the fatted calf. And I know when I went back and read this story several times, I noticed that it did not say a fatted calf. Because if it would have said the father brought out a fatted calf, it means or insinuates there's multiple fatted calves, so just bring me one of them. But it was the fatted calf. Maybe perhaps this is a fatted calf that you would use for a feast day. Maybe it's a special kid, as the scriptures say, it was a kid, uh, maybe of the goats or what else like that, and they call it a calf, the fatted calf. And it was the fatted calf. And then the older brother got angry, as the scripture says. And he tells his father, I've been with you all these years. I've done everything you said. I kept all of your commands. But not one time have you ever rolled out. And then again, it says, the fatted calf. And that is again to insinuate there was only one that was available in that particular season. Maybe the following year another herd would have came up, but right now that was the fatted calf. And that sent the brother away. And the father says, you have everything. You have everything, but your brother who was lost is now home. Why are you acting like this? You know, when I read the scripture, I noticed something else. The older brother said, this thou son. So excited about it. This thou son. He did not even own him as a brother. He was really, just when you look at the way that's written and the story's been told, and that's what this Bible series is about, Bible story series, is to look at the details of the words, the arrangements of the words. Look at what's being said, how it's being said, because it's very, very important. The layout, because the writer is trying to convey something that we should consider in the thought of the lesson of that story. So a couple things that I pointed out was the fatted calf. It wasn't a fatted calf, because if it was a fatted calf, it could insinuate that there's others. And the father could have just said, listen, son, I'm going to rejoice with you right now also. But it was the fatted calf. Maybe culturally, everybody knew that seasonally, there was always a calf that you use for like I said before, a particular feast day or something. But I noticed they just kept saying the fatted calf. So that's what set the brother off. It really did. It really set him up on edge. And what is the irony that we can learn from this story is this. Jealousy is a rage. Jealousy creates an anger within inside, and it can be over something small, and that it may not mean anything to you, but it means a lot to the other person. And the brother should have been rejoicing too, but instead the fatted calf caused him to disown the brother, recognizing him as his brother. And we know that because he said, this thou son. Now that this thou son, you know, when you say this, you point at an individual and you say, this thou son has come home. That you are excluding yourself from ownership. And the father really see, and those of us reading the story can really see the anger that was really in him over the fatted calf. That's what it is. And again, the irony of this story is that you could, oh my goodness, it could be just one thing that would set somebody off. You know, when Joseph, it just came to me, Joseph in the scriptures was Jacob's youngest son. And it was the coat of many colors that set the brothers away from him. The coat of many colors, something that his father had put together. And it was that coat that he had that really set the brothers on edge. It just takes one thing. It could be, it could be the fact that you get pregnant and somebody else in the family isn't. You get married, somebody else didn't get married. You got a new car, somebody else didn't get a new car. Let me tell you, it could be just something, one simple item that would set people against you that can be amazing as to what they do and why they do it. And you can really see the true colors, no pun intended, talking about the coat of many colors. You did see the true colors of those brothers. And let me tell you, they came out and we know the story how they were going to kill him if it wasn't for Reuben. If it wasn't for Reuben, Joseph would have been dead. And we know the story, Joseph later on, it was Joseph that saved them when there was a famine in the land. But jealousy, one thing can set it off. It could be a new suit, it could be a new pair of shoes, it could be a watch, it could be a piece of jewelry, something that somebody else does not have. And wow. And so what our life lesson in that is that there's so much stuff that you can just generate as a life lesson from that story. Apart from rejoicing, we should rejoice when someone comes home. We should be happy. We should be merry when somebody returns back to the Most High. Every time I find out that somebody's eyes have been opened up, I really, really get excited to know that, wow, they see. So listen, I just wanted to drop that little note to you, little nugget. We'll talk soon. When I get back in a minute, we'll come back, we'll do this again. Give me about 15 minutes. I want to do this again. We'll talk soon.